Welcome back to the channel, guys, in the GT3 build, and this is actually episode 14. Now we're still waiting for the seam sealer material to show up because there was some back order and delays. It's a little frustrating because I've got about a 2-week window now to get this thing ready for paint. So what I'm gonna start doing is pulling off clear bra. This entire car is wrapped in clear bra, which is great when you own the car and you're driving around, but not so much fun when you're trying to prep it for paint. So I'm gonna have to pull off all the clear bra on the car. But before I get to that, there's a couple things I forgot I have to remove in the back. So there's just some bumper beams and some exhaust shielding. So let me get to that, and then we're gonna pull off this clear bra, and I'm gonna start removing all the little grommets and fasteners and things that are left over to really finally strip this thing down, and hopefully we'll get the seam sealer, and the next day or two we can finish that up and then really scuff this thing and get it ready for the paint booth. Fingers crossed. I know I keep saying that, but I keep finding little odds and ends that need to be done. So working hard to get this thing ready. So if you haven't done so already, click that subscribe button, turn on those notifications because we've got new episodes coming every week. So we're going to start at the back of the car. First, we're going to pull off the bumper beam, and then we're going to pull off the rear supports for the fascia, heat shielding. This should all go pretty quick. I'm going to try to just pull this off in one piece because I don't really want to disassemble it. And then we're going to start pulling off the clear bra. So we finished removing the stuff on the back, and now we're going to try and remove some of this clear bra. So I've already removed a little bit from the front because I did the repair, but I'm going to start here on the rocker panel, and the piece goes all the way up the quarter around and comes down to here. I have removed the roof, so I don't have to remove that. Awesome. However, the hood from the other car and the fenders is all wrapped, as well as the front end. So there's a lot of clear bra I have to pull off. If anybody's ever pulled clear bra before, you know how much it sucks. There's really not a good way to do this. So I'm gonna be employing steam. So I got a steamer, and shout out to Larry at Ammo NYC for this idea. Is actually on the bigger panels, you can put towels down, use a kettle, and put hot water on the towels. It keeps heat in the panel, and then you augment that with steam, and it helps come off. So this is pretty new clear bra, so it should be easy to remove. The older stuff, that really sucks, because what happens is the top layer comes off, the plastic, but it leaves this layer of adhesive behind it that you literally have to scrape off with a razor blade. It's awful. I've done that many times. So hopefully this goes well. Been dreading this for a while, but I left it on because I wanted to really protect the paint as we were doing work on the car, and good thing I did because there's been a couple of things were rubbed against the car, whatnot, just more sanding I would have to have done. So let's get going, let's pull it off, and hopefully it comes off pretty easy. All right, I pulled the clear bra off, and honestly, underneath the paint, it's kind of a shame, is basically immaculate. You can see in the light here. It looks like before it was wrapped, the whole car was paint corrected. There's not so much as even a swirl in this paint, which is a shame because then it was crashed twice. But I am going to be changing the color because if you've seen any of my other videos, I have a Taycan, which is the same color as this, and kind of want to try something different. So the good news about the clear bra is the paint is in good condition, so really we just have to scuff it and then we'll spray. So there's only a little bit of body work we need to do at the front where I bonded in those new panels, and of course the new front end we have to finish the seam sealer, but the rest of this we just have to clean off, scuff, and then we'll get ready to spray. So the clear bra actually came off pretty easy. I was expecting it to be terrible, I guess because it was so new. It really didn't leave a lot of adhesive behind, so that's super nice. Since I finished removing the PPF on the car, and we still don't have the seam sealer stuff that I'm expecting tomorrow, I'm going to start taking apart the front and rear bumpers. So I got it set up on a table. This is the front bumper from our donor car. So I just need to pull off everything on the back side. And modern bumpers are pretty interesting because, well, I should say fascia, the bumper's actually on the car. So all this stuff is molded and then attached to the front, usually with some clips. Sometimes they'll use rivets or different types of fasteners that you have to cut off. But generally this stuff's pretty easy to take off, especially on Porsches. And then once you get all the backing material out, or all the kind of sub-assemblies here, you can then paint the front fascia. So we're gonna disassemble this and get ready for paint. All right, I finally got it. This is the SEM sprayable seam sealer gun. It's pretty sweet. I already shot one bead on this, so you can see. Looks pretty factory. So it's very tunable, so I was playing around with it on the floor here. So you can shoot sound deadening pads, you can adjust the spray pattern kind of as you like. I like a slightly narrower bead with a bit more material to ensure better coverage. So I've been kind of playing around with it, but I've got a lot to do, so let's give it a shot. So it's been 2 days, and it's nice and dry, and it looks okay. So I ended up brushing a lot of this after I sprayed it. So you can see I didn't have a chance here because it was a little too thin, but it looks decent. I can't complain too much. It doesn't have quite that factory look I was hoping for. Here's the front, but it's not bad. So what happened is I ordered five bottles of seam sealer. So 5 of these guys, and what occurred was of the 5, 3 were bad. So you can see in my test spot, there's a few that are light and a couple that are dark. What I've seemed to deduce from all this is the light stuff, the stuff I sprayed initially, it was good. It was not too viscous, it was easy to shoot, and you could adjust it, and you could lay down a lot of material. But the gray seems to be bad. So I got it to partially work on the front of the car and the side, but it was a little hard and it wasn't shooting as well. And the other 2 I opened, they were just rock solid, so they weren't shooting at all. So I think the reason why this stuff didn't turn out as nice as I wanted is because it was bad and it just wasn't producing enough material. Now, if we look at this side, this was what I shot initially. Now that I see it up close and it's dried, it's like, it's pretty aggressive. There's a lot of material here, but it's very seam sealed. Let's put it that way. And I'm probably just gonna leave this rather than taking it off and doing it again because it's all gonna be covered up. But the good news is I'm getting a better hang of it. It's looking pretty good. It's not too bad. And I think with good material, which I've ordered now, hopefully it'll be good. I ordered 5 more bottles, which really should only take about 2 to finish this thing. And it should be here early next week. So unfortunately, I'm gonna be waiting for parts again. Finally got the other seam sealer bottles. They seem to be good. So we're gonna finish this up. I've already got this prepped, and then I'm gonna clean it off, degrease it, make sure we're good. So I'll finish the seam sealer in here. And then hopefully that'll take us to another bottle, which I'll get on the inside. Already got scheduled for paint, getting coupons tomorrow, so super excited. So let's get going, finish the seam sealer up. We're not quite finished with the seam sealer this week, but I kind of ran out of time. So let's just take a quick look at where we are. This was the first go with the SEM sprayable seam sealer gun. It was actually not bad. I mean, it laid down a lot of material, as you can see. It's just heavy seam sealer. I thought about taking this off and redoing it, but honestly, from about here back is going to be sound deadening. So here up to here, you can see this is what's left over from when Porsche built the vehicle, is all like this sound sprayable mat. So this is all going to be covered. So really it's just this area that's, okay, it's not great, but it looks okay. It's not too bad. And as we progress here, so then I learned, all right, well maybe I can just brush it. Not bad. So this looks okay. This is, I started to learn a little bit more. Started to kind of tune the gun, see what's going on. And then we see this side, again, it's a little heavy. It came out just, the gun just produces a lot of material. I was trying to change it, and you can actually see the difference in color. It's a little harder in the camera, but this is a bit darker than this. As I mentioned before, the tubes I got originally from the supplier were bad. Like 3 of the 5 weren't very good. 2 were just completely unusable, and 1 was okay, and 2 were good. So this is the okay one, and what was happening is it was just jamming up in the gun, and it was just kind of coming out all goopy, which is why you get heavy deposit without a lot of kind of texture to it. And then I just brushed it because it's kind of so heavy. So then I learned a little bit more, and you kind of saw in the video. What I realized you could do is put a little bead down by hand and then scrape it with your finger with a lot of isopropyl alcohol so it doesn't stick, and then just shoot a real fine bead using the gun. And this actually came out really well. I'm pretty happy with this. And it's good because this is the only area you're actually going to see of the car. The rest of it's all covered up anyway. So here I did that technique. I put a little bead down and then I sprayed it with the gun. You'll see I did that up here too in the front. Other than a couple little spots where the gun it got some air in there and it kind of sprays a little bit wider. It worked out really well. And then I did the same technique on the inside here. Had a little bit of overspray where the gun sort of gacked a bit, but I mean, it's not bad. It looks relatively factory. I'm pretty pleased. I mean, the fuel tank sits in here, so you're not really ever going to see this stuff, but I'm pretty content with how this came out. I'll clean it up a little bit before we actually spray primer and paint. I'll go ahead and clean up some of this with wire brush and whatnot, because all this stuff needs to be cleaned before we paint. It's going to have to be primed. I'm going to have to prime everything. I got a little bit more to do with the seam sealer because I got to spray that sound deadening, but I did get to the bottom a bit. So I covered up where the welds were underneath, and it looks really good. So the only kind of eyesore is really going to be this side where it's just heavy, but you know, at this point, I'm ready to move on. It looks fine. It's going to be covered. The point is it's functional, right? It's not going to leak. It's not going to let moisture in there. I have some cavity wax I'm going to spray inside here after we do paint. So we're about ready. So next week, I'm going to get at that final sound deadening, and then we're going to start sanding the car. All right, guys, that's going to be it for today's video. We're almost done. Ran out of time this week with the seam sealer, but we're about there. So I've got the front seam sealed. We got those bumpers taken apart. We pulled off that clear bra. We just have a little bit more to do. We're spraying that sound deadening, and then we're going to start scuffing for paint. So if you haven't already, click that subscribe button, turn on those notifications because we've got new content coming every week.